Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule has opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Mo here, and in this week for the Meta Mondays, we'll be looking into the last week that was going into what was going to be seasonal cutoffs. So this week will be pretty important. It's not going to have changed much because less people have played on ladder overall, but because there was a lot of grinding on ladder to make sure people tried to hit that cutoff or that ranked cutoff to qualify for seasonals, which was this last weekend, 2 days ago, you'll see what a lot of people were spamming here to try and do the best. Maybe some things went down in player, maybe some things went up. We'd see that, for instance, Sion joined the top 8 this week. So things have changed a little bit, but not too much. And so what I'm going to be going over this week is going over my general analysis of what people were trying to use to grind with for the last week, maybe why. And then I don't really have any of the decks that made top 32 for any of the seasonals, unfortunately. But if I did, I would have gone over those as well. So we're just going to go over what people used the last week to climb up to those ranked cutoff to qualify for seasonal. But before we get into that, I wanted to remind you guys that 60% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you guys could do me a huge favor and click the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year to start 2022 off extremely strong. So if you could click the subscribe button and then click the bell, that'd help me out so much with the YouTube algorithm, as well as like and comment. So that's it for this intro. Let's get into the video. So we'll start off we'll just go over the top 8 decks of the meta this week, or this last week anyways. So this last week again was the final week to qualify for seasonals, which means people are going to be on a grind. People are going to be spamming matches. There was a lot of the anti-meta decks going to be coming in that I saw a lot of on ladder, like Tompkins Soraka was coming in a lot. Sion was coming in a lot, as we see here on number 8. A lot of decks were being super played. Sejuani Gangplank we see jumped all the way up to the 5th played deck. So a lot of deck, basically it was like kill or be killed last week. And so a lot of people chose the anti-meta lineup. So I'm really excited to look at these 5 through 8 slots here on the list. 1 through 4 is the exact same as last week, but so we're probably not going to go over those too much, but I would love to talk on these 5th through 8th spots. So we'll just touch on the first couple. So Draven Sion, still the most played deck, still 58% win rate. We get a patch on the 20th. It will be our first balance change in quite a while. It's definitely deserved, but we'll get some type of nerf to Draven Sion, I'm sure. Probably something to do with Lost Soul. Maybe make it to where when you play Lost Soul, he doesn't generate a 4-3 or something. Who knows? But yeah, something needs to be done about this deck. It's very defined. And then we have Burn coming in right after that. Burn is a huge menace against things in the meta like Nami Zoe, Silver Auction, Gangplank Sejuani, any of these slower mid-rangey style decks. The Ziggs Poppy Burn deck just destroys them. It just plows right through them. If you can get some type of crazy triple 1-drop opener or a good 1-drop into stone stackers on 2, there's very few things certain decks that want to play a little bit slower in the early turns can actually do against you. Even against the Lee Sin Zoe decks where they run the 6 Eye of the Dragons in their deck, there's not much they can do if you open with a 1-mana 3/2 into stone stackers. Eye of the Dragon can't really do anything against that. So it's really nice that we have a really good aggro deck in the meta. Obviously coming from an aggro player, I love when aggro decks are in the meta. So I like that. Is it a little overtuned? Maybe, I don't know. I think it's pretty balanced. I just think other decks need to adapt to it. After that, we have Darkness and then Zoe Nami, both still being played, both have an okay win rate. Senna and Viger has a very solid tier 2 win rate. Zoe Nami is still rocking a 56% win rate. So, all standard stuff from our first 4 decks. Now, getting into the 5th through 8th spot, these are the decks that were kind of wild cards from last week that people spammed to be anti-meta, right? So, Sejuani Gangplank, let's talk about this deck for a minute. Why did Sejuani Gangplank come back? My guess would be that it beats Draven Sion, right? If you can level a Sejuani and keep a Sejuani in play, then a Sion won't do anything. A Lost Soul won't do anything. If you can get it against Darkness, you have too many threats for them to answer. They only run 2 mini-morph, right? So it's going to be hard for them to answer 3 Gangplanks and Sejuanis and Dreadways. On top of that, you get to run 3 of the Harpoon, so you get to kill any of their champions for, basically 3 mana, because it'll be always active because you're playing Plunder. So because you get to remove their champions easily, and because you play so many freaking threats, it's doesn't sound like a very good matchup for Darkness. Again, I touched on why beats Draven Sion, because you can level up a Sejuani, and then at that point it's extremely hard for your opponent to actually do anything for you, or do anything to you, because they can try to attack you with the big Sion, then it gets frostbitten. They can try and kill Sejuani with a 4-3, but it gets frostbitten. It's really hard to ever attack into Sejuani Gangplank because of the factor of, well, I don't know if they're going to frostbite my entire board, so how do I actually play around this? Do I only semi-commit an attack and then miss out on a bunch of damage? Do I fully commit attack and then get blown out if they have a frostbite? Or if they're able to frostbite my whole board? It's extremely hard to play around for a lot of these mid-range style decks, and that's why I believe it came in for that last week, because people were just wanting to farm the most played deck and the most popular deck and the most winning deck right now on the ladder. And that seems to be a trend with 2 of these decks in bottom 8. However, number 6 is Sivir Auction. This deck seems to be preying more on the Zoe Nami archetype and the Sin of Vigor. It seems to be like where you have a triangle develops now, where we have the Sivir Auction style decks to beat the Lee Sin, Zoe Nami's, Darkness, stuff like that. But it gets beat by the best decks in the Draven Sion and the Sejuani Gangplank. I assume it loses to Sejuani Gangplank. I haven't personally played that matchup too much, but I know that Sejuani Gangplank is the anti-mid-range deck, so it would make a lot of sense to me that Sejuani Gangplank beats Sivir Auction. So it seems to me like people were playing Sivir Auction if they ever saw a bunch of the control decks like Lee Sin, FTR, Bandletree even, because you have rallies and Bandletree can't really deal with rallies. Zoe, Nami, Darkness, stuff like that. Sivir Auction was really good into. I know it was extremely popular in tournament lineups for that reason. Any tournament lineup wanting to soft target, the slower control style builds of the Zoe and Namis, you would bring Sivir Auction in that. So that's why I assume people were playing it to try and squeak out that top ladder spot, is just say, hey, I'm going to beat the anti-meta deck. So like the anti-meta decks, that's me. I'm going to be the anti-meta deck with Sivir Auction. So it's kind of like trying to play 5D chess with your opponents here. Number 7 is Twisted Fate Gangplank, Poke City, or Pirate Burn, whatever you want to call it, Vandal Pirates. This deck actually fell off really, really hard during seasonals. A lot of people I saw didn't bring it, and then a lot of people that did bring it were saying how they wish they didn't bring it, and a lot of people that didn't bring it were happy they didn't bring it. I actually recall I watched BBG in between one of my rounds, and BBG was playing Darkness into Pink City, and he said, and I quote, "I am extremely glad that I did not bring Poke City to seasonals. This deck sucks." Like, he said that word for word, and I was like, man, now that you say that, I guess Pink City really hasn't been doing that well. I personally have had a lot of success with Pink City. I thought the deck was extremely broken. I built it extremely aggressive, though, so maybe that was the difference, because you had a lot better aggro matchups because you were matching them in aggressiveness, but then you also had the top end of things like Gangplank and Double Up. But you were also so aggressive that things like Zoe Nami couldn't keep up with you too bad. That was always a bad matchup, but you probably just ban it. But again, you were so aggressive that you could just go under the Draven Sions. You just out-tempoed them most of the time early in mid-game, and it came down to just, can they kill you with their turn 7 attack on Sion, or can you kill them before, like whenever they tap out for their Sion, you just kill them and unload your hand and stuff like that. So I personally wasn't having too bad of an experience with it, but I know a lot of people were extremely happy they didn't bring it. I noticed a lot of people were also bringing Treasure Trash in their Gangplank Twisted Fate list. I'm not really sure why. I kind of haven't played too much the last couple days, so when I did come back and I saw people playing Treasured Trash, I was like, oh, that's an interesting decision. I didn't try it, so I didn't know if it was good or bad. One of my opponents in seasonals, my round 2, played Treasure Trash against Fane. I think he ended up playing like just some shitty units and then a gotcha or something like that. And then I went, okay, here's like a bunch of lurk units, deal with this stuff. So I don't know. From what I saw from Treasure Trash, it didn't really do too well. But of course, that was my very limited anecdotal experience. So it is what it is. Maybe it's just really, really good. But yeah, and then the eighth deck today is going to be Lee Sin Zoe. So this deck actually popped off in seasonals. A lot of people brought it. I was actually expecting a lot of people to bring it. For those of you that don't know, my seasonal lineup was Lurk, Poppy MF Scout, and Zedalulu, like Elusive Drift style deck. And my goal was to actually beat the anti-Draven Sion deck. So I wanted to beat the Zoe Namis, the Lee Sins, the Ping Cities, the Darkness, and stuff like that. Because in both of my Demacia decks, I was running triple Rangers Resolve, so I was good into the Pink City. So I was actually looking to beat this entire quadrant right here. Unfortunately, I only hit Darkness once. I never saw Zoe Nami. I never saw Lee Sin. And I saw Pink City, I think that one time, and I 2-0'd it. So I unfortunately did not hit the matchups I wanted to hit, but hey, that's okay. The seasonal didn't go towards Worlds, and I was kind of a little bit burnt out, so I was taking, somewhat of a break from it. But that was my expected result for seasonals, and I expected a lot of Lee Sin. I unfortunately, personally, did not hit Lee Sin that much, or at all, really. I went 2-2 drop, but I did see a lot of top players brought Lee Sin. I know, like, Mtux brought Lee Sin, Majin brought Lee Sin, and a lot of people that did top 32, or a couple people that brought Lee Sin made it to top 32 with Lee Sin in their deck. So Lee Sin was a powerhouse during the seasonals, as expected, and yeah, it was really, really cool. As far as ladder goes, the reason people were playing it on ladder was because it super farmed Draven Sion. You're probably good, and you're not probably good in the Zoe Nami. It's like 50-50. I scripted the matchup with Mtux, and we were literally going 50-50. I think it's actually Zoe Nami favored, because all Zoe Nami has to draw is literally double trouble on 3, and then Nami. And what Lee Sin has to do to counter that is have, like, multiple Eye of the Dragons and Lee Sin on 5. And if you don't have, like, Zoe on 1, Eye of the Dragon on 3, and then Lee Sin on 5, then you're losing that match. And because, Lee Sin has to work a lot harder for the matchup, that's why I put it in Zoe Nami's favor. But it is the closest thing to 50-50 that we have in the meta at the moment. Other than that, like I said, it completely smokes Draven Sion. You probably beat Pirates, I'm not too sure. It depends on the Pirate, the Ziggs Poppy Burn draw. If they draw extremely well and go really wide on stats, then you probably can't beat it with Lee Zoe. But at the same time, if you get to open with double Eye of the Dragon, then fuck, anything's possible with Lee Zoe. Like, you can always just get some crazy high roll of Eye of the Dragons and, just win that way. So that's really cool. Next week's Meta Monday, we'll be going over the seasonals top 32 and how that went. It won't be a meta Monday as far as ladder goes, because ladder, I'm assuming, either won't change or won't matter, because the season is already over and everyone is already qualified for everything. Ladder at this point literally doesn't matter, so it's just going to be a bunch of people either not trying at all or just playing a bunch of random meme decks. So the meta is going to be not a real meta, if that makes sense. So I'll be doing next Meta Monday. We'll just be going over what the top 32 was and the winners from the different seasonals. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to join my Discord. The link will be in the description below, so you get notifications on everything whenever I'm trying to play games with my viewers. For instance, like yesterday, I was playing some Earth games, and I needed a couple people to fill in for my 4th and 5th, so I went into my Discord. I'm also doing giveaways on my Discord for some Karma and Thresh skins, so if you want in on that, make sure to join the Discord. Go follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, because I stream on there almost every single day, and I put out banger tweets multiple times a day. And again, don't forget to sub here, because it helps me out the YouTube algorithm, and we're trying to hit that goal of 5,000 subs by the end of the year. So that's it for the outro. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video.